Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, you know? Just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me. Absolutely happened to me. I had, for years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hi, I'm Ashley Flowers, and if you're like me and grew up watching America's Most Wanted and reading Nancy Drew, then hi, you're a crime junkie. And I bet that passion for solving mysteries never went away, which is why we've assembled a team of reporters to dig deep into all the cases we still obsess over. Each Monday, my best friend Britt and I will bring you a case that you won't be able to stop thinking and talking about. So join us by listening to Crime Junkie wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder Express.
Yay and choo-choo!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on another crazy edition of Small Town Murder Express.
Yeah.
10 pounds of dynamite in about a 1-pound bag here, so it's crazy stuff. This week is no different. Let's get right to it. We have some quick stuff at the top. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com is where you get your tickets for live shows. Whole year is on sale.
Hey!
Get them. They're going quick. They're selling out fast, so make sure you get in there. Next shows are May the 5th in Detroit. May the 6th in Pittsburgh. Get in there. Get your tickets. They are going fast, and we cannot wait to get there. Detroit, big, nice venue, too. Come on.
It sure is. It's beautiful. And it's huge. So get your tickets. Let's do this.
Absolutely. We are excited, and we can't wait for that. So ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com is where you get that. Also, where you get your tickets to the virtual live show, April 20th, the 420 virtual live show. It's also available for a week after that to watch and to purchase and do whatever you want with. But I am going to get Jimmie so stoned with a number of different apparatus that I have. It's going to be amazing. And then I'm going to tell him a murder story and see if he can follow it. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be great. Going to be great. So ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com is where you get that. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Bonus stuff that's all the bonus stuff. Anybody $5 or above, you got a couple hundred bonus episodes to binge on, back catalog, and then you're also going to get new ones every other week. One Crime and Sports, one Small Town Murder. You get it all. This week for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about murder. So there you go. The murder of Bruiser Brody, the wrestler. We'll talk about that and try to find some sort of humor in that, because it's pretty dark, man.
He was so lovable. Yeah.
Corrupt and dark. Yeah, he was like a big, terrifying stuffed animal. He was a great guy. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about something very fun. Haunted hotels all over the place, a couple of which we've stayed at. So we'll find out if
tell me.
seen anything. I didn't know beforehand. So we'll do that. That's patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all of that and more. And keep an eye out. We'll give you a date for the release pretty soon. Your Stupid Opinions, our new podcast about people's reviews of everything you could imagine from the internet, because the internet, let's face it, is just reviews. So we will do all of that. That said, I think it's time to dive into this. Let's do this. Where are you right now?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Where are you? Are you a mall Easter bunny? Maybe. Let's say you're a mall Easter bunny. You have a little kid up on your lap, maybe a couple of them sitting all next to you. There's eggs everywhere. They're taking a picture. I want you to rip the ears and head from yourself. Reveal yourself to be a human being. Grab the cutest of the kids. Pick him up looking dead in the face and say, Shut up
and
give me murder. Take that.
Yeah.
And then he'll hate Easter forever, or at least Easter Bunny. He'll be terrified. I don't want to dye the eggs. It'll be
this
much
one's on
easier.
The house, kid.
Yeah, no more pause kits for the rest of your life. You're set. So let's go on a trip, Jimmy. What do you say?
Okay.
We're going on down to Georgia today. We're going to Georgia, and almost did a case that, remember that American Hollow documentary? We're going to do a bonus episode about it. It's like The Wonderful Whites, except doesn't have near as much publicity, and that one guy ends up being a murderer.
Yeah.
But the murder isn't that. He just stabs a guy in a bar. So, I mean, it's interesting, but the backstory is the interesting part. So we're going to do a bonus episode on that.
That's one where the guy visits the family that's fucking out of their minds?
Yes.
Right.
That's
I can't wait.
That one where the sister just fell out of a tree and they never took her to the doctor, so she's, quote, special now. That's so sad. It's so sad.
The whole thing is such a disaster.
It's crazy stuff. So we're going to go, this is basically, this is kind of a sort of a cheat, but not really. This is one of those where we're kind of in a major city, but at the time this was considered its own town, and it's still its own town, but now the part of this town that was its own town is actually part of the city, but at the time it wasn't. So it's precarious. It's outside of Atlanta, or kind of almost in Atlanta. It's Vinings, Georgia. Vinings, Vinings, Georgia. And it's just like northwest of Buckhead, basically, in the Atlanta area. We know because our venue that we've done there was there. We will be in Atlanta, by the way, this year, so get your tickets to that. So in all the newspapers and everything, they call them residents of Vining, but now this address where this happened is actually considered Atlanta now.
Oh.
Atlanta proper. So, but at the time it happened in 1985, it wasn't considered that. So,
damn, man.
There you go. Yeah, little deal there. It's a Vinings is a little census designated place. It's kind of still in the city now, technically. So we'll get to it. Population there is 12,793. So obviously way smaller than Atlanta. Median income is not that high, $58,550, which is slightly above the national average. But the median home price is outlandish.
Outrageous.
Because it's, kind of outside the main area of Atlanta. You can it's $542,200 for a house there. So
holy shit.
It's a lot. Now, a little bit of history. Early on, Vinings has had a bunch of names, obviously. It wasn't Vinings at first. First, it was Crossroads, and then it was Paces, after a guy named Hardy Pace.
Hardy?
Hardy. And they were like, did we name the town after Hardy? We can't do that, right?
Yeah.
Let's change it to something else. What do you say here? So this guy operated Pace's Ferry across the Chattahoochee River in this area between Atlanta, Buckhead, and Smyrna. So that was his deal. So they were like, man, his ferry's so good, we'll name the town after him. And then some railroads probably happened, and they were like, we don't need him, right? We don't need this.
Mr. Vining.
Yeah, this guy sucks. So they named it after William H. Vining, as he worked on the railroad construction of Vinings Bridge. So they were very happy about that, apparently. Home Depot is headquartered here.
Is that right?
Yeah, this is where Home Depot is headquartered. That's why that guy owns the Falcons, apparently, because it's from down there.
He does?
Yeah, the guy, the Home Depot guy owns the Falcons.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Or maybe he might have sold it in the last couple of years, but he owned them for a long time. So let's do some reviews of this town. Let's find out what the people think. Here's 5 stars. Okay. I have lived in Vinings for most of my life, and it's just an amazing place. It is so beautiful with lakes and woods.
Okay.
So it's kind of, outside the city here. I has a very close community. I think it has is what they're going for. It has a very close community / suburban feel, but it has a lot of cute shops and amazing restaurants inside Vinings. Living in Vinings, you feel like you're living in the cutest small city ever. The amazing thing about Vinings is it is inside the Atlanta perimeter, and most of Atlanta's amazing attractions are less than 30 minutes away. Yeah, it's like its own little bubble in Atlanta. It's very weird.
All Atlanta's mosquitoes, no attraction.
Oh, yeah. Well, it'll be there. Don't worry about that.
Boy.
Yeah, the Braves are that way, but the mosquitoes are right here.
Right here.
Vinings has a special charm to it. Vinings Village is the cutest place ever. I don't know what that means. I love Vinings so much. I love being in the city without traffic and with actual woods and charm. Vinings is the perfect all capital letters place. Oh, it is also so safe. We'll find out about that.
I don't believe you.
We will find out about that, sir. 4 stars. Overall, Vinings is like the best of both worlds. One can experience the convenience of living just outside the city and having the peace of the suburbs at night. There's a lot of places to shop, dine, and explore, including access to the Silver Comet Trail. It's the perfect in-between of the city and suburbs.
Okay.
So this is kind of what we're dealing with. Here is 3 stars. Really has nothing to do with the town. This
I love that.
This is just a person's personal issue that they're putting out there. I love this. 3 stars. I am a displaced graphic designer and non-traditional student, college junior, in parentheses. Finding a job has been very difficult in the 5 years I have been laid off. That's it. That's the whole review.
I can't get work in the very specific field that I've...
I mean, this seems like the wrong place. Maybe a place where there's jobs you could post that, but not on the reviews
I'll bet
the
in
town.
Atlanta there's better work.
Probably tons of it right there.
Yeah.
Things to do here. Okay. The Big Shanty Festival. The Big Shanty Festival. It's like a decibel, but a little bit different.
So it's
joyous.
Big shanty, not the little shanty.
That's a shit one, the little shanty.
Yeah.
You want to go to the Big Shanty one, not the shitty shanty. This is in Kennesaw, so it's about 20 minutes away. It is host to this, which is the festival combines the best of the rich heritage of Kennesaw and the Civil War era.
Oh, boy.
That terrifies
Not a good
me
era,
little bit.
guys.
With today's fun-filled activities. So you dress up like Robert E. Lee and walk around and take Instagram pictures? Is that what you're saying here? Great entertainment. The Big Shanty Festival kicks off with a parade, floats, high school bands and marchers. Holy Jesus, this sounds awful. That sounds terrible. Okay, this sounds better. The Dixie Highway Yard Sale.
Okay.
The 90-mile Dixie Highway Yard Sale, 90 miles of yard sale.
90 miles of people's used shit?
Here's all my shit, everybody.
Oh,
you can't
my
even walk that. You'd have to drive slowly and look out the window. Oh, that looks like an old blender. That's what I'm looking for.
So long.
Let's see. This yard sale is also a historic driving tour along the Dixie Highway. In fact, one of the frequently purchased items is a souvenir version of the Dixie Highway road sign. Well, why not? Why not? The yard sale takes place starting the first Friday of the first full weekend in June, begins at 8 a.m. on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Plenty of good restaurants along the route because you're going to be tired and hungry from
exhausted
yard sale shopping.
90 fucking miles of it.
Holy shit. Open 8 a.m. to dusk. It is ridiculous. Please note, this event takes place on the 2-lane Dixie Highway, also known as Old 41, not the newer 4-lane highway, 41. Because as you're dodging 70-mile-an-hour traffic is a bad time to look at Grandma's tea set and see if you want to buy it for $20. It's not as safe.
People cruising at 11 miles an hour down the 2-lane highway.
That's helpful. That's
fantastic.
Better. That said, let's talk about a murder.
Let's do that.
A non-yard sale murder, because I think after about 40 miles of yard sale, I will kill someone. Pretty positive about that.
40 miles of yard sale where I'm trying to haggle somebody to save $1.20.
I go, listen, I got 86 more miles ahead of me. You don't think someone else is going to have this? Come on. What are we talking about here?
86 miles of tchotchkes. I'm going to find this.
Whatever you got, your Hummels are not going to not be 46 miles down the road. So,
you think this cuckoo clock's so specific? Guy on mile marker 42's got the same one.
Guess what? Your grandmothers knew each other. They're both dead. We got clocks. So let's do this murder. We got to go to 1985. Let's talk about it. Let's not do a murder, Jimmy. Let's
do a murder in 1985.
Let's be specific about this. We were very small children. Let's do a murder. Imagine us,
4-year-old.
Imagine us in 1985. Picture us both, the small children versions of ourselves, and me going, let's do a murder, Jimmy. And you go, yay. And then we go kill somebody as tiny
We may have been
children.
able to pull it off. I had 10 fingers back then.
That's true. You had 10 fingers. I think we could have got away with it. We were cute as fuck, I think. So
I was just dirty.
I had a big puffy bowl cut thing going on, big 77 Pete Rose happening in the mid-'80s there.
I had a ducktail on my head.
Oh, yeah.
That old 50. That's what my mom did to me.
We would have got away with a lot.
Tube socks.
We could have got away with everything, Jimmy. We could have did it. So March 14th, 1985, we're going to talk about here. 4 a.m. We're going to start this early in the morning or late at night, however you want to talk about it. The apartment complex is the Tahoe Vining Apartments, is what it's called. Tahoe-Vining Apartments. And it's under a different name now. You can look it up. There was a lawsuit where the Tahoe Vining people sued the people who bought it, and there was a whole lawsuit over it. So I got to know a lot of the history of this apartment complex. Didn't help with the episode at all, but what are you going to do?
Now you know there's a lawsuit.
I know how apartment complexes fight when they buy each other. So the people in the apartment complex, 4 a.m., heard screaming. Started hearing screaming, which is not what you want to hear at 4 a.m. in an apartment.
Terrible alarm clock.
That's why you hate living in apartment complexes, because people scream at 4 a.m. and you don't want to hear that shit. So one of the guys is Martin Yabro, who's an accountant who lives in the apartment here, and he lives on the second floor, and he heard screaming above him on the third floor. Okay? So he heard it about 4 a.m., and then he heard a thud on the floor, which in an apartment complex, someone could have dropped, a can of soda, and it sounds like
hairbrush.
It sounds like something. Oh, what the fuck's going on up there? Jesus Christ! I'm trying to sleep.
It was just my goodie comb. Don't worry about it. It's a very light object.
An apartment above you, in Phoenix, the shitty apartments I've had. Apartment above you, someone goes to take a piss at 3 a.m, and it's just
cinder blocks on their feet. It's crazy.
You're like, God damn it, this floor sucks. Build shit out of better material.
Yeah.
So he hears a scream and a thud, is quote, as if something was falling on the floor. A loud thud. So then he heard footsteps descending from the third floor to the lower level of the apartment building. So this guy kept listening. He heard thump.
Right.
Fucking toom, 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 toom. So he's listening for now car door shutting, vroom, peeling out. These are the sounds you're expecting, but he doesn't hear that. He hears, feet going down, and then that's it. Gone. So whoever just took off is on foot apparently, or their car is not parked right here
or they got a bicycle. Yeah.
Or they got a bicycle. Yeah, some quiet means of transportation.
There you go.
Some bigger guy to carry him on their back. Anything's possible, really, at this point. They didn't look out the window.
We don't know.
3 children, maybe, could carry him at once. I don't know. You could put any combination of people and things that could happen here, really. But quietness is what we're saying, and no door slamming. So
silent unicycle.
Very silent unicycle. Absolutely. You know how that's going to.
Definitely not a skateboard. You'd hear that click clack on the seams of the concrete as he goes away.
he just went right in line with a mime parade. That's all it was. He had no. There was one walking by.
With the mime parade.
There was one walking by. He just got right in it and kept walking. Maybe.
That's what happened now.
I think that's. Is that it?
What else happens? That's
that
the story one? We're going with.
Mime parade. Sons of bitches.
Came downstairs with his white face paint, and here we go.
Boom. Very quietly fucking walked away with his soft shoes.
I love that.
So,
that's a good thought.
That's something. So they were. He didn't hear that. Some of the neighbors around also heard screams. He's the one who heard the thud because it was above him. But other people heard screams. A couple of neighbors called the police because they heard screams. That's how how loud it was. So.
Scary screams, not
scary. Yeah. And sustained, a couple of them.
Oh.
Because one scream, you go, is that a scream? Somebody scream? And you listen and you go, I don't hear anything else. Okay, must be fine. Yeah. Someone might have seen a mouse, for Christ's sake, and had an overreaction. We don't know. You can't call the cops every time somebody screams, but sustained screaming, that might be a call for help at that point, not just a surprise.
Yeah.
I mean,
the first time I heard screams in my apartment, that's exactly what you do. You pause and then you go, is that more scream? Oh, my God, those are not, that's gross. And then you know what it is, and then it's never any good.
Is it fucking or murder? Are those happy screams or
it's the only thing
sad
you hear in
screams?
an apartment.
Yeah, that's it. So I mean, sad screams or happy screams?
Fucking or murder.
That's it. Do I call the cops or start getting horny? Which one?
Which do I grab, my phone or my dick?
Yeah, what am I doing here? So they call the police at 4:45 a.m. A 911 call comes in, a specific one. Other ones had gone in from this apartment complex, but at 911 or at 4:45 a.m. at 911, the call comes
911 a.m.
So this is the person who was doing the screaming calling.
Oh,
it's a woman, and she has. We'll get right into this here. She has dragged herself to the kitchen in a very difficult state, and we'll tell you why in a second here, to a kitchen telephone. She had to get to the I don't know if 911 wasn't active here yet or what the deal was, but the operator had to she called the operator who transferred her to the Cobb County Police Department. So she had to go through a filter here,
right?
And the police dispatcher got the call, and they were trying to get the address of the victim. What's going on here? What's going on? So they ended up eventually the trace came into it, so they know where it was. But they couldn't figure out what she was saying. The Cobb County dispatcher said they heard, quote, the moans and screams, and they were trying to help her, and they patch her through, and you can hear there's a tape, and there's a long, low moan on the tape that over the tape drowns out the voice of the operator and the police dispatcher. It's a guttural, it's a moan, like, not trying to communicate. It's almost involuntary. Yeah. So the dispatcher's asking, ma'am, can you hear me? And you just hear moaning and moaning, and then the moaning stops, and the dispatcher says, I can't hear her anymore. And you don't hear anything else at all. So obviously the police are dispatched to this location. Multiple people hear screams, and then this comes in. So it's pretty scary here. So they go up to the third floor, which is above that guy's apartment, and they find the victim here who was screaming. And it's a 30-year-old woman.
Very young.
Lives alone. Belinda Wood is her name. She's in like a nightgown. Here, she's found near the bed on the floor, which is interesting because the phone was in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it looks like the original place she was attacked was in the bedroom. So, and there's a blood trail. So she dragged herself all the way to the kitchen, got the phone, made the call, and then came on back with the phone to the bedroom.
Oh, God.
And died near her bed. There's a 6-inch knife is laying on the floor near her body as well. There's a lot of blood everywhere. Yeah. She was stabbed in the back with a 6-inch blade.
Good Lord.
With so much force that the blade pierced her lung and broke one of her ribs. To break a rib with the blade, you got to really be, that's a lot, man, because usually the blade will come off a bone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll deflect off it. Yeah. So she was also stabbed in her lower left lung, which left a gaping 4-inch gash. 4-inch wide gash, like somebody, like prison shanked her, like pulled up on it or something. This is horrible. But she somehow remained conscious enough, but her lung was so destroyed she couldn't get any. All she could get out is moans.
Right.
She couldn't no air. So it's fucking terrible. She's described by everybody as a quiet person who lives alone in apartment A on the 3rd floor, keeps to herself. They find out she's from Opelika, Alabama.
Okay.
That's where she's from. She has 2 children who live with their father, I guess, thankfully, from whatever happened here. We're happy they weren't there. She's got 2 children, a 13-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Oh.
That's fucking sad. So that means she had a kid when she was 17 too, which is tough. She worked at a Montgomery Ward store in Columbus, Georgia, and then she moved to this place, to Vinings, about 3 years earlier. And so she'd lived here, just been quiet, lives in her apartment. Everybody remembers her as a very nice person, very caring. She's got a cousin here who gives a little anecdote about her quick. She said, last Christmas she asked me to make up a list of things I wanted to do but couldn't afford and places I wanted to go. I told her she was crazy, but she said, maybe there's something on your list I could do for you. She rented a hotel suite and a limousine and took me to the Limelight Disco in Atlanta.
Oh.
So she's a nice person.
Yeah.
Eventually, essentially and eventually we find out.
Yeah.
So it's very fucking sad. They're like, well, who wants to kill this person? Obviously, does she have a boyfriend? Number one. Does she have an ex-boyfriend? Probably even more. That's number one.
Dispute with the ex-husband because she's got the ex-husband. The ex-husband is always first.
He's in Alabama with the 2 kids, so he's not the one. He's out of it. So they find that out quickly. So they're like, well, does she have a boyfriend? Like we said, does she have an ex-boyfriend? Because this looks rageful. Right. And doesn't look like something that happens on a stranger to stranger basis. Plus, there's nothing stolen. So if you're going to break in and stab somebody like this, there's no sexual assault.
Oh,
no sexual assault and nothing stolen. So that's
the goal is to eliminate somebody, and that's been done.
Yeah, that's only why would you want to just kill a stranger without taking anything? Usually they want sexual things or physical things or both, but not nothing. So police show up. They find her lying in a pool of blood. There's blood stains all over the apartment. I mean, fucking everywhere. There's spatter. There's blood from her bleeding out. There's blood from her dragging herself. There's bloody handprints on the wall, smears. It's a fucking horror scene in there. It's terrible. So the homicide detectives get there about, a little before 5 o'clock. They pull in, and as they're talking as well, there's a guy downstairs on the 1st floor, the resident who lives below that accountant, and he comes outside. It's a guy named Don Michael Catchings Jr. He is 26 years old, and he sees ambulances and police and thinks there's a medical issue, and he is a respiratory therapist at the neonatal intensive care unit at the Piedmont Hospital, which
one of those goddamn heroes.
Those people, both of my kids were born at that place, and my daughter. It was very. Those people are wow. That was those people are good people. They're really nice. So
nerves to steal those people.
Oh Jesus Christ! I couldn't be in that place for more than a day. I don't know how the hell they could do that. So that's what he does, though. So he said, "Hey, I'm medically trained. I can if there's anything you need helpful." And they were like, "Well, we're well past the point of any medical intervention being an issue here, so thanks anyway." He lives downstairs, like we said, Don Catchings. He's got a fiance or a girlfriend named Virginia Meeker, who's his girlfriend. She's a nurse at the hospital, and she was at work at the time. So she works. She's working overnights tonight, and so they both work at the hospital.
Very Grey's Anatomy.
Very, these two are doing having a
subplot going.
Hot hospital affair. Think he looks like Patrick Dempsey?
I doubt it.
I don't think so. So he pops out. He says, I'm a respiratory therapist, blah, blah, blah. And he's watching. he is seen underneath the balcony of Belinda Wood's apartment as the cops were discussing toe prints and the track of Belinda's sliding glass door. Apparently somebody was barefoot and stepped on the sliding glass door, and there's barefoot, and there's bloody toe prints there. So they're talking about that. Also, that when the cops are talking about the knife found near her bed and the blood stains in the apartment and a bloody handprint found on the front door. So the cops are kind of having a powwow of here's the overview of all this evidence that's sitting right here. Okay, so Catchings is downstairs under the balcony, kind of hanging out, listening to all this. So when they talked to him, the cops, Sergeant Jones, said he smelled alcohol on his breath when he talked to him outside the building after about 4:30 a.m., which that's fine.
I'd probably need a nip if I got to see children in pain.
That's what I mean. At the end of the day, or I don't know, he's off. Who cares? He's in his own apartment. Drink whatever the fuck you want. So Catchings, though, was asking Jones, the sergeant, about the investigation and all that. And once he heard the information, he went inside. Then they said he would peer out his window occasionally at the cops after he went back to the apartment. Which, again, who isn't nosy about this? There's a homicide unit there. You're not nosy?
A murder just happened 500 feet from me. I want to know everything.
There's like 12 feet of apartment above me, and then that's it. And then there's that murder that happened. Yeah. So as within 5 minutes of him talking to them and then going in and looking out the window and stuff, it's all happening very quickly. It's about an hour after the cops get there. It's about 6 a.m. when smoke starts coming. They start seeing smoke. They're inside the apartment, the victim's apartment. They start seeing smoke come past the doors and windows from down. They're like, what the fuck? All of a sudden they run out and they see the building is on fire. Oh, my God. When the fire people got there, there was flames shooting through the roof. I mean, it went fast. They got it under control in about a half hour. 2 ladder trucks and 30 firefighters to put this thing out, which is wild. Some of the residents said they threw some of their shit out the window, furniture, whatever they could get, they're tossing it out the window. One of the people said a lot of people lost just about everything they owned.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
They said the fire began on the first floor, immediately below the victims. Where Catchings lives. Weird,
What's that
right?
Drunk fuck doing down there?
Let's see. I'm going to blaze this candle. Jesus Christ.
Make some breakfast.
Let's do this. So I'm going to do it over an open flame like the pioneers.
I'm going to cook this bacon on a stick.
Yeah. So later on, they said the fire was started in multiple locations. They said they found several hot spots later on.
Oh, boy.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently wherever your problem areas are. Tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Okay, now the flames spread so rapidly that the murder investigation had to be discontinued.
Done.
The building was on the fucking crime scene was on fire, so they had to run out of the building, and most of it burned up.
Oh, no.
Including a bunch of key evidence was completely charred to shit in the building, including the fucking murder victim as well, also.
Oh, she's still there, yeah.
Yeah, she's still up there. The homicide detectives are processing the scene, so nothing's touched. Everything is exactly the way it was, so they can process it, but before they can, it all catches on fire.
Shit.
Which is wild. A police officer said he saw Don Ketchings, running from his apartment at about 6 a.m. when the fire broke out. He said, quote, as he came out of his apartment, he was looking back over his left shoulder. He was actually smoking. Smoke was coming off of him.
He was
not smoking a cigarette.
Having a cigarette.
He was
his
a cigarette.
His shoulders are smoking.
Yeah, his shoulder is a cigarette. That's crazy. So they asked him, they go, hey, guy who's got smoke coming off his shirt, do you know how this fire started? What the fuck happened? And the guy said, quote, he said he didn't know. He said he was asleep. When he woke up, the apartment was on fire in 3 places, the kitchen, the living room, and the bedroom.
My place is so flammable.
That happens so often. When I go to bed, I really worry about like 8 different hot spots that are going to burst up at any point.
He's got a spontaneously combustible apartment.
Well, I keep my candle collection next to my kerosene backup supply over there, number 1 in that corner. So that's possible. I could see that bursting into flames. And then I obviously, I keep my turpentine over here next to my supply of matches, and I keep a few lit just to keep it going.
And my fireworks, I got a 2-bedroom because I have so many.
Yeah, I keep that next to my eternal flame for my dead grandma. You know what I mean? So I can't help it. There's a lot of open flames in here and a lot of flammable things. So shit's gonna happen sometimes.
Sometimes it jumps when I sleep.
I don't know. Who knows?
Most people when they're asleep sleep through that, and that's why they die when things catch on fire.
He popped right up.
He's got a real sensitive schnoz.
Well, he also couldn't have been in very deep sleep because he was talking to the cops 5 minutes before that.
Yeah.
So how sleepy could he have been? He was just looking out the window and then passed out on his bed.
That's
done.
Good for you, sir. I can't fall asleep like that.
That is impressive. I wish I could. So the police captain of Cobb County here, he interviews Don Ketchings inside the police car while the firefighters are putting the fire out. Let's have a chit-chat here. Now, the arson investigation established that the fire had been set intentionally, and the point of origin of the fire was 3 different locations in Don Ketchings' apartment. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of hard to get out of that one. Here's some of the residents, what they said about the fire. One person said, we just ran out of the house with my purse and his wallet. This is Bunny McMahon is her name.
Oh, Bunny.
Bunny McMahon, 24 years old here. Her and her husband were planning on moving new furniture next week into their new home they just purchased. So they had a bunch of furniture they just bought that put into their new home when it closes, and most of that furniture was destroyed.
No renter's insurance.
No. She said, we will have an empty house now, I think. It hasn't hit me that we lost everything. I'm just looking for my sneakers. I need to go to work. Just I hope my sneakers aren't on fire. That'd be terrific.
Oh,
the last thing you think of is murder in a nice complex like this, she said.
That poor accountant.
A nice complex.
That poor accountant who got woken up by the shit above him, and then everything below him ruined his whole life.
It's like, what the fuck? I have nothing to do with any of this.
If the top floor is destroyed, so's his.
I need a single dwelling. This is ridiculous. So the police say that they eventually removed a charred knife from the apartment, and that was obviously evidence. The police sergeant said, when I arrived, I did not even have a chance to go in with the other officers before we saw smoke pouring out downstairs. That's what one of the cops said. They said, we were on the scene when a fire broke out in an apartment just below where our officers were investigating the murder. He said that the officers helped evacuate the residents of the complex. There was no injuries, but the fire damaged all 10 units of the apartment complex.
Oh, damn it.
They said that evidence and the woman's body were partially burned before they can contain the blaze. And also, once they did, it was all covered in water and soot. So not a lot of physical evidence is going to be left over here in terms of testable. Everything's been contaminated. They said our main concern was getting anyone who was alive out first. And they said they have, because people are saying, well, the guy that you said the fire started in his apartment, is he a suspect? He's obviously an arson suspect, but is he a murder suspect too? Did he kill that girl? And
if he didn't do, that's attempted murder of people, right?
A whole shitload of people, yeah. Like, this is the most people that'll ever be here. Said it. Let's go. They said, we're not calling him a suspect. We're just trying to determine if there was any relationship between the fire and the murder. Like, do these two things go together or are they separate? So, which is a very good question. The fire ended up causing $570,000, 1985 money in damages, which is
a lot. Like
$2.5 million now. So they said the fire destroyed much of the evidence of the stabbing, like we said, and not great, obviously, for anybody. If you're a homicide detective, that's the last thing you want. They always say in the homicide book, they'll say, like, they said when a homicide cop will answer the phone, get the thing, hang it up, and there's one where the guy goes, hey, everybody, what's the last case anybody here wants?
Yeah.
And everyone at the same time goes, arson. Yeah. Nobody wants arson because you're just never going to solve it because things get burned up. It's horrible.
Right.
And it's also disgusting, too, to
look
into. Nobody wants to see that. So Catchings here, when they're talking to him, they see that he's got scratches on his arms, a friction burn on his back, and abrasions on his toes. Okay, so he says that, I was just trying to get out of the fire. Of course I'm all dinged up. Look at me, I had smoke coming off of me. They go, you sure you didn't get those scratches in a struggle with a woman upstairs while you were killing her? Is that positive here? That's possible. And they said maybe you hurt your toes when you were climbing into her window, and that's possible. Absolutely not. That's crazy, he says. I don't know what you're talking about. No. They talked to his girlfriend, Virginia. She said she talked to him 3 times that night from work, and nothing seemed out of place when she talked to him. 3 times. He wasn't like, ranting or raving or out of breath or, what you up to? Just spreading some gasoline. And that never came up.
That's a lot of conversation when you're
they're
at work.
Talking. They're chit-chatting. Well, they work together, though, so she could be like, can you believe this total asshole? Listen to what Susan did now. Like,
commiserating on the problems of the night. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, this guy said this, and you can do that. So they take him in for questioning, obviously. During questioning, he says something incredible. It's why, again, I love it so much when people say shit this dumb while they're being. Imagine this. You're sitting in a homicide interrogation room with 2 detectives, and they think you committed a murder possibly and an arson and attempted murders and everything else. And he says that he, quote, doesn't think he killed nobody. Mm-hmm. Okay? In his exact words. Don't think I killed nobody, but if you have prints of mine in her apartment, that would help me remember. I'm pretty forgetful. Like,
usually evidence of me being somewhere jogs my memory.
It'll help me memorize because you stab people to death all the time. Who can remember an exact stabbing? I remember about a month ago, I was asked, did I go to McDonald's for lunch? And I said no, and turns out I did go to McDonald's. I just forgot. So same thing could have happened. Right? Yeah. Don't think I killed anybody. But if you can show me the evidence that you have ahead of time, all your murder evidence, I can then craft my story to that. Would that be okay?
Tip your hand a bit, and I'll adjust.
It's like going to a poker game and going, I I don't think I won, but if everybody will just turn their cards over and show me what you have, and then I'll bet after that. Then I'll bet. I tend to do better when I do it that way.
Ante up. How about we deal first?
Let's deal. Let's all show each other what we have. You know what? Let's put all the other cards. Let's turn them, too. Let's get them all out there. Yeah, there we go. Now let's bet.
And then show me the card that's next.
But just me.
Yeah.
Just me. So... Yeah, they said that all these injuries all over you looks like, what you would get kind of breaking into someone's apartment. That's kind of a thing. They also get a bunch of the neighbors saying that he was extremely agile. They've seen him. People have seen him on a previous occasion climb from one floor of the apartment building to an upper level floor on the outside, like a fucking monkey.
Why would he do that?
I don't know. He just scaled the wall like Spider-Man. I don't know how he does it.
Why, though? I don't understand.
Know. I don't know what the advantage of that is. Man. What's the advantage of climbing the outside of an apartment building? I've always wanted to feel like King Kong. Maybe that's what it is.
I suppose. That's an interesting... People shouldn't see you do that.
No, but multiple people have seen him do that. So... They're like, you set fire to the place, which looks bad. I'm going to be real honest with you. And there's some other evidence we'll talk about here. But they go, in the meantime, he's suspended from his job at the hospital.
Really?
They're like, we can't have the murder suspect around sick babies, probably, right? These parents have enough to worry about.
And even if they aren't talking about a murder suspect, an arsonist, we can't have that guy in a fucking where these people can't escape. I can't have that guy in here.
There's people just having the hardest time of their lives right now. Just the most stressful, difficult times. You can't have this guy hanging around with his book of matches dangling out of his pocket. So they're gonna end up indicting him now. They charge him in an indictment. He's gonna try to get it tossed out though, which is funny. So the evidence here, they rule some shit inadmissible. Okay. Including a sex book, quote unquote, that they found on his bed that was open to a certain page where they'll say that this woman looked like Belinda Wood. That's what they're saying. They're like, it was open to a page of this woman, of a woman who looked like Belinda Wood, and then, he goes upstairs, and the way his cuts and abrasions look, it looks like he went up there probably trying to rape her, and she fought him off, and he just started stabbing her instead. He figured he had to kill her if he...
Are we talking about the Kama Sutra?
Quote,
are we
unquote.
Talking about,
Well, there's two sex books. One is admissible, one isn't. The one in his apartment, not admissible. They say because they had no search warrant. Meanwhile, they were in there putting a fire out, for Christ's sake. If you don't want cops and firemen to come into your apartment, don't set it on fire, number one, I would say. Yeah. And I'm a huge guy with search and seizure shit. Don't fucking be searching people's shit unless you have a reason, none of that. Get a warrant and all that shit. But... you set your place on fire. You're asking for people to come in at that point. Close your sex book before you light your apartment on fire, you fucking weirdo. Right?
Yeah.
Also, a set of kitchen knives found in his apartment as well, one of which matches the knife that they think matches the knife that's burnt up next to the victim. But they're never going to be able to admit that into court because they found it without a warrant. So,
God damn it.
That's how that goes. Like I said, that's silly. Now, the other thing, though, they find in his car, they're going to find some other shit here. Another thing they seize is underwear that he was wearing the night of the murder, noticing that there's a drop of blood in the underwear that matches Belinda Wood's blood type. No DNA, blood type, which is not that, doesn't really narrow it down. His attorney at the time pointed out that 46% of the population in Georgia had that blood type.
Oh, that's not good.
So, it's her and half of the population locally. Yeah. That could be any of those people. They said all of the evidence they sent to the crime lab, they found one thing, this is his lawyer, a piece of old blood. That's all. That man sitting over there is a respiratory therapist. He works in an emergency room. He works in surgery, and he has done that he had done that for weeks previous to this incident. How dare you? Look at him.
It's a man. He will period be damned. He will give you what you need.
Give you everything.
It's a hero.
Now, the prosecutor, on the other hand, retorts with, quote, I've never in 20 years of prosecuting even heard of a case where officials were actually on the scene investigating a crime, much less a murder, where they were burned out by the alleged perpetrator.
Yeah.
Have we ever heard of this before?
Never. No.
How can I get them to stop looking for finding all this evidence? I'll just set the place on fire. That's never happened before.
They're not going to leave.
While they're here, while they're all here. That usually they don't do shit right in front of everybody. That's not a good strategy here. So that's fucking funny. The car, 2 days after the fire, a patrolman at the scene of the fire was looking through the windshield of his car. He left his car out there, Catchings did. This patrolman noticed ashes on the front floorboard. Oh. At the time, the car was located in an area of the apartment complex parking lot, which had been cordoned off as part of the crime scene. Yeah. So he could have had access to that. They said that the lieutenant said the ashes in the car, a lieutenant with the fire department, said the ashes in the car could not have been physically transported from the burned apartment building. The police detective had the car door opened, and he took pictures of the ashes. He wanted to take pictures because they said if you move the car, the ashes are fragile. They might collapse.
Yeah, those are going away.
When you tow it. So they ended up impounding the car. They get a search warrant for the car. In the car, they find a ladies' compact, which could belong to his girlfriend. I mean, and papers taken from the front floorboard of his car. Also, a bunch of ashes and burned paper as well. Also taken from the front floorboard, the book, and they make a big deal out of this, Xaviera's Super Sex.
Oh.
Okay. This sounds very like it's some sort of, whatever, like very filthy.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, it's this lady who wrote do you ever hear of the Happy Hooker?
No.
It's this lady who, yeah, she's a party, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
She's this lady, Xaveria Hollander, and she was, whatever she was doing, had some professional job where she didn't make a lot of money, and so she decided to be a high-priced call girl, and that's what she was, and then wrote a book about it, about, all the exciting places she went and all the money she made, right? Called The Happy Hooker, it's called. Nice. So, yeah. So then this book is Xaviera's Super Sex, Her Personal Techniques for Total Lovemaking.
Okay.
So that's what he had on the this is not at all a, like, porn book. I bought the fucking book for this episode, and it is it's like a 1979, like, how to fuck good book.
How to fuck sweet and tender.
How to fuck, not necessarily sweet and tender, because she wrote The Happy Hooker. She knows dirty shit. Oh yeah, she talks about, I'll stick a finger in your ass and all that shit. She's filthy, but it's not. But it's all. Here's an excerpt. Okay.
All right.
Of course, I'm going to give you a small excerpt here.
Good.
I literally just scrolled on the bottom of the Kindle to a random page, and this was the random page. Quote: When did you last have a knee ride? Okay. The famous knee ride has long been a lesbian practice, but it's a turn on for any couple who can between them provide one clitoris and one knee. The pressure of a woman's moist crotch pressing and sliding on his thigh and knee can be thrilling to a man. One man I know said this practice makes up for his small penis. Well, that's nice.
You can fuck my knee.
I mean, why not? He said, I pretend my thigh is the biggest cock in the world and my knee is the biggest head. Well, that's not great.
Can't even get it in there. It's so big.
No, it's so big. Like, oh my God, look at this. It's
This is how I give myself all the troubles of having an enormous dick.
This is what Andre the Giant's women felt like. Oh, man. He goes, man, I'm sorry. It's just too big. My woman goes wild mounting it, and she gets so hot that she's... Jesus Christ. Okay. I get off on it, too, because she's so turned on that my fantasy seems almost real. It's not. Your dick is small.
Sorry about your tiny dick. Congratulations on your fake
Oh, my
too.
God. Jesus Christ. Also, quickie ground rules. She has ground rules. This is like by women, kind of for women. She's talking to women in this whole thing, so it's definitely not his like jerk off book. You know what I mean?
How do you jerk off? How would you jerk off to that?
Quickie ground rules. Keep your shirt on. The whole idea behind the quickie is destroy it if you both get completely undressed. You can have nude sex anytime. In a quickie, the name of the game is urgency.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's just a whole thing about that. There's a whole thing about if she's wearing a long robe, open it, but don't let her take it off. If she's in slacks, pull them down, but don't let her take them off. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they'll be around her ankles and she'll fall down. She's trying to move a little and she falls over. A head injury is sexy. Yeah, that's very sexy. Contusions are hot. I'm like, yeah, I like my women bruised up.
Nothing more sexy than a concussion and slurring.
Yeah, that's hot shit. So, this is the kind of book this is on the front seat, and they're introducing this as evidence of his like
depravity,
his depravity, and his just fucking insatiable sexual urges too. That's the I'm telling you, they really
is a sex thirst like you couldn't believe.
Which is so you don't need that. That's to me is I don't like when they have to add that extra stank on it. He fucking set the place on fire while we were investigating the murder. Who else fucking did it?
That's plenty. We don't need that he wants a step-by-step or confirmation of how to please a woman. That doesn't matter in this.
Yeah, you know what? We're giving him credit for this, actually. Maybe he was trying to do better. So, maybe he's just trying to fuck better. You never know. So now the defense here, his lawyers say that the seizure of these items was accomplished through the police officers opening the car door and photographing these items, and that they had no direct connection with the arson in the apartment complex, thereby rendering the plain view doctrine inapplicable. Okay. No, not applicable here. And in the exigent circumstance exception to the warrant requirement does not exist in this case because the automobile was being guarded within the crime scene area and it sat there for 2 days prior to its search. So they said,
put it there. Is that what he's saying?
He's saying that nobody could have put anything in there. Mm-hmm. So that's bullshit, basically. Because no one could have put anything in there. It's being held, all that stuff. They could have got a warrant ahead of time.
Got it.
Before they even looked in the window. Because plain view is if they have some sort of, whatever. So, well, no, plain view, you can kind of just look around and if it's, because that's kind of visible through a window. It's visible publicly. It's not even in a private residence. It's in a car in a parking lot. So the court said, we hold that the police officer's viewing of the ashes in the car through the windshield does not constitute a search. That's why. There's no legitimate exception of privacy shielding or expectation of privacy shielding that portion of the interior of an automobile, which may be viewed from the outside of the vehicle by either inquisitive passerby or diligent police officers. So if he wanted to hide shit in his car, he could have put it in the trunk, is what they're saying.
Got it.
There. So he asks for bond. He wants a bond. He wants bail.
Fucking mind?
After he brutally murdered a young woman and fucking tried to kill 10 other people, burn them out of their apartments. That's wild. So
he tried to murder guys in suits.
The judge decides that, though it's very rare, obviously, to set a bond in a murder case, but he said he had no evidence that Catchings would flee or intimidate witnesses in this case. So he sets the bond for $500,000 in property or $250,000 cash.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? The district attorney said, I can't remember bond being granted where the state announced that it would seek the death penalty. He's like,
truly, yeah.
It's a death penalty case. They're letting this guy out. So, there's a cool thing here. Belinda's parents actually get to come and go to the trial because there's a program that pays for families of violent crime victims to be able to come for the court. It's a really cool.
From Alabama?
Really cool thing. No, they had to come from Indiana, I believe, or Iowa, somewhere in the Midwest. Okay. They came Ohio. Okay, there we go. They came from Ohio, and it's an 11-day trial, and hotels and travel, and they didn't have the money to do this. They said, quote, or people said they were not from this area, and they would have had to have been alone, sitting in a strange town with strange people, and they said that other people they came to help them out.
That's nice. Yeah.
Support group and all that kind of shit. So. He wants the indictment overturned.
Of course he does.
Wants it overturned. Do you know why he wants it overturned?
No.
Okay. Because the grand jury system in Cobb County does not have enough black people in it. Which would make a lot of sense if he was black. The thing is, he's not.
What does
That's
that mean?
the thing.
What's he doing?
So I don't know if he just thinks, he's like, just get along with black people. I don't know. I feel like they would have seen through this whole thing. And yeah, he's not black at all. So that's what's interesting. So it's a very odd, it's an odd strategy. I got to be honest with you. So
bold,
they're like, this doesn't matter here with you. This part, you're very white.
This is inapplicable, like you were saying about the other things, sir.
Inapplicable.
This is inapplicable.
A lot of inapplicable things here. So the trial comes up. The defense attorney says that, quote, Don Michael Catchings did not kill Belinda Wood, nor did he set fire to his apartment.
Oh,
he was in there where it started in 3 different places, but he didn't start it. Like I said,
asleep.
Eternal flame, fireworks, kerosene, stockpile, these things happen.
Somebody killed a woman, and then as soon as I fell asleep and dozed off, they came to my place and started a fire.
Bastard. I'm looking for him as much as you are. I'm pissed.
Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. He said there's no evidence that Don Michael Catchings knew this girl at all. He doesn't have to know this girl. Mm-hmm. It's not a thing. He only knew that she was the girl that lived upstairs. That's all he had to know. A girl lived upstairs. Yep. They said that the prosecution does not have a case at all. They said the one thing that Mr. Sharon that's the prosecutor, did not mention in his opening argument is the motive for the killing. Why would Don Michael Catchings go to Belinda Wood's apartment and clamber around on the side of the building 3 floors up to get into it? Because he wanted to rape her, probably. Right. Yeah. That would be my guess, just off the top of my head. That's why men do shit like that if they're not stealing. So Don Michael Catchings testifies. He's got to take the stand. Because otherwise, he's got to have a convincing story here of how all of these things look really bad don't make him guilty.
This is going to be fun.
He said he did not stab her at all. Doesn't know her, just knew that she lived up there. Under cross-examination, he said yes, he was drinking and leafing through a sex book, not the one we talked about, the one that's not admissible. But they're getting some of it in. The jury's not going to be able to look through it, but they're getting the mention of it in through him. Leafing through a sex book containing pictures of acts of bondage and what he called violence to females.
Oh, my.
So he's looking through like a fucking S&M book that had some violent images in it here. And they said, isn't it true that you were in there that night and your fiance had gone to work? You started drinking. Isn't it true you started looking at this sex and violence book and formed in your mind an intent to commit the same violence portrayed in the book? Mm-hmm. He says, quote, I don't remember seeing any violence in the book.
Well, what?
He left out the whole part about the rest of it. He just, I don't remember seeing that. I didn't touch that girl. I didn't hurt that girl. I didn't kill that girl. Didn't want to rape that girl. Don't want to rape her. Don't want to rape her. Sing a song if you have to. I don't fucking care.
I missed that part in the book. That's all he's going to answer to.
Yep, that's it. How I would have the flashiest fucking song and dance up there if I didn't rape anybody. I would have a whole production. I absolutely didn't want to.
Consent is important.
Yeah.
Consent turns me on.
Turns me on. Then he just starts fucking bursts into Baby I Was Born to Rape by Bruce Springsteen. And they're like, Jesus, his attorney's like, stop it now. Fuck. I got carried away. So he said that you didn't go up there intoxicated with rape on your mind.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Oh.
Which is my least favorite Ray Charles song ever. It really is.
That is like ammonia to your nose.
That's rough. Rape on your mind. He said, I wasn't up in that apartment. I don't know what went on in that apartment. He said that he got scratches and abrasions on his arms and hands when he was running from the fire. The medical examiner said that the injuries were probably suffered in a struggle with someone with moderately long fingernails, which Belinda Wood had. He became angry, Catchings did, several times during the cross-examination, pounding his fist on the witness stand here. Uh-huh. And in a raised voice, he said, quote, there's a lot of fallacy going on here. It is wrong. I did not kill that girl. I didn't kill her.
Don't use the word fallacy. It's too
fallacy. There's phallic things. I'm thinking about penises. Mine specifically. Friends of his testified too, and the co-workers said that one person's described him as a very moral person. People said that he was the kind of guy that you want to have around during emergencies at the hospital. He's steady. He can be depended on. He's a nice guy. The fiance said, great guy, good at work, doesn't beat me, everything's great at home.
Sure.
No bondage, it's all fine.
Great guy. Yeah.
Closing, prosecutor said that it was Ketching's perverted mind that led him to stab Ms. Wood. Perverted mind. He said, quote, I think it's pretty obvious what the motive is for arson. He said, who can doubt that the arson was to cover up a murder? As for the motive for the murder, he said, I hardly think he crept into a woman's bedroom at 4:30 in the morning to borrow a cup of sugar, especially when he's got a pornographic book on his bed with a female in it resembling Belinda Wood. Mic drop, suck a dick.
Yeah.
Defense attorney said they're just using innuendo and circumstantial bullshit to get this through. Here's a man who takes care of babies. That's what he said. Quote, here's a man who takes care of babies. He takes care of babies. Is he going to go out for no apparent reason, scale up a building and stab somebody? Maybe, yeah. Doesn't seem like it, but
on his bed.
He set the building on fire. If the building caught on fire somewhere else and they didn't think he set it, I would go, you know what? It's too iffy to tell. There's no other reason to set the building on fire.
Right.
So they said, the defense attorney also said, if he was trying to hide something, don't you think he'd change his shorts, change his underwear? Maybe he's a scumbag. What do we know?
Who knows? Yeah.
He said Ketchings could have suffered the scratches in a fall as he fled the fire in his apartment. He also said the fire could have been started by any number of people who were at the scene of the crime that day in 3 different places in his apartment. The cop actually said, quote, it was a Chinese fire drill out there that morning. That's what the lawyer said.
You can't say that.
It was crazy. They're just running around like crazy, stopping at red lights and circling each other, getting back in the car. It was crazy. So,
he said that
Bedlam.
in court.
He said that. That was his closing. That was like what? That was his mic drop.
What an asshole.
It's a 6-man, 6-woman jury, and they deliberated for 5 hours over 2 days, the end of one day and into another day, and they finally reach a verdict here, and they find him guilty of both arson and murder.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. He cried as the verdict was read, of course. Yeah. So are they going to go for the death penalty? What do you think? Because they said they might.
You have to. There was cops in the building.
That's crazy. And a lot of other people. The state said they will seek the death penalty because of the slow death that Belinda suffered and because she was killed during the commission of a burglary, even though they didn't say that he stole anything. Right. He broke in. So prosecutors said that it's justified because he committed it for that, and also the slaying was wantonly vile. They said it's one thing if a person takes the life of another in combat, but to knowingly use a weapon on a person who is unsuspecting and then savagely stab her, that's a consideration you have to look at. That's what the DA said. And then he said also he could have left her to die slowly, and not only did he leave her to die slowly in her apartment, but then also decided to try to burn her to death, to burn the evidence as well. His mom and dad come, Ketching's mom and dad here.
Oh, what do they say?
They said, here's his mom. I always said I was a very fortunate person having him for a son. She said, I do not believe my son committed this act. And the father, Don Michael Ketching Sr., he said, I would like for them to really consider that he's not a violent person. He's never shown a loss of temper other than the average. This isn't really a temper thing. Right. This is a calculated, disgusting thing.
Horned up lust.
Man, so deliberations go for that. They deliberate for about 2 hours before being sent home for the night. They come back in, deliberate for another couple hours the next morning, and they come to a decision, the jury. They find that despite the killing was committed during a burglary, they decide that that it was wantonly vile and showed depravity of mind, but they sentence him, you, sir, may fuck off. Life in prison.
Yeah,
they don't give him the death penalty. Life without. Defense attorney said they were relieved. They said he still maintains his innocence and wants an appeal.
Is that right?
Yeah, two male jurors who told the prosecutor, quote, the ladies on the jury were just not going to give him the chair. So none of them wanted to do it. He's 25 years old, Catchings. He's a young guy, and I think they got one of those. Yeah, it's hard to
as a nurse and all that shit.
Yeah, I think maybe that was possibly what it was. Belinda Wood's mother said she was angry that the jury showed mercy toward him. She said, that is what upset me because he didn't show my daughter any mercy. Which makes sense.
I mean, he did leave when she was still alive, so I guess that's mercy, yeah?
I suppose, guess.
Is mercy killing her because she's so injured that...
I think...
Do you know what I mean? Which is mercy?
I think mercy is whacking off in your own apartment and going to sleep and leaving her alone. That's the most merciful thing he could have done.
Chugging to your S&M fucking mag and going to sleep.
You're going to sleep. Yeah, because he would have lost all desire to go out and climb walls. You're not going to come and then climb a wall. That's just not going to happen. No human man has ever done that. Once they're like, well, that's enough of that. I don't really care about what's up there. Anything could be up there. Yeah.
I'm falling asleep with whatever caught it laying on my belly.
Yeah. Is there like some cold pizza up there, maybe? If that's what's up there, I might do it. So he appeals this, and his appeals are silly. First of all, one is the fact that there was an underrepresentation of black people and young people in the jury system as well.
He really needs young people and black people to judge him.
He's very white, so we're going to go past that. Death penalty also. He says that that Georgia's statutory death penalty provisions are unconstitutional in that they allow the death penalty to be imposed in an arbitrary and capricious manner, and argues that the imposition of the death penalty by electrocution constitutes cruel and unusual punishment. The court's answer is one sentence. Since he didn't receive the death penalty, he lacks any standing to launch these attacks. It's just has nothing to do with you.
Inapplicable.
Yeah, you could say anything. I also don't like the zoning laws. Well, again, has nothing to do with you.
You're not building anything. Don't worry about it.
Yep. He also says that the indictment was wrong. It was done wrong. He said that he argues that the indictment was vague and ambiguous and that it did not sufficiently apprise him of the charges against him. Meanwhile, it said that he did unlawfully and with malice and forethought, cause the death of the victim by stabbing her with a knife. Count 2 alleged that the accused did, by means of fire, knowingly damage the building. He said that wasn't clear to him with what they wanted him for. So they were like, yeah, you can keep fucking off, mister. And then in 1988, some reporter here, Jay Jersowitz, he's an independent reporter here. He wants all of these, all the shit to be released to him, photographs, evidence, and all this, because he says that he wants to examine it because he's not sure that this guy did it.
What?
He's not positive, so he has to fight in court because he wants to show them to his own arson expert and see if he actually committed this murder because he doesn't believe he did. So either way, this guy's still in prison. And
didn't work yet.
Didn't work out for him. Catchings is, 25 and 85. That was 30. He's almost 55-year-old man now, sitting in jail with no sex books, maybe.
I hope somebody could send him. Well, you can't in prison, huh? You can't have those.
I don't have any idea.
I don't think you're allowed to have porn.
Jesus, it'd be better than the alternative, probably.
Yeah,
I would say.
Set that motherfucker on fire.
That place could burn, man. So I don't know. That is Vinings, Georgia, though.
Holy.
In a crazy ass, weird. Yeah, it's a safe little, nice little dreamy place. So if you like that story, tell the world. Get on whatever app you're on. Give us 5 stars. It does help a lot. Say something nice about the show and helps drive us up the charts. Do a nice thing for us. It's a good thing to do. Also, follow us on social media. We are at Small Town Murder on Instagram, at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod on Facebook. Get all the updates. Also, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com to get your tickets for live shows. Yeah. They're coming everywhere near you, all over the place. That sounds gross, but they're going to be there. Get them. A lot of shows are selling out. There's a show in November that's sold out already at the Wilbur. So shows in July are sold out. August are sold out. Get your tickets right now. May 5th in Detroit, May 6th in Pittsburgh especially. They're coming up. April 20th, virtual live show available for 7 days after that as well at shutupandgivememurder.com. I'm getting Jimmie stoned. You're going to want to watch it. It's going to be hilarious. And it's just like a regular live show, except you're in your living room and Jimmie's baked. So that's how that works. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Go there. Also, merch is there. You also want to get head over to patreon.com/crimeandsports for everything that has to do with bonus stuff. Hundreds of episodes there for you to look at and binge on. Anybody $5 a month or above. 2 new episodes every other week. This week, The Murder of Bruiser Brody for Crime and Sports, which you get access to. For Small Town Murder, Haunted Hotels. Something very creepy and fun, and a couple that we actually have stayed in. So we're going to do all of those. That's patreon.com/crimeandsports. You're also going to get a shout out at the end of the regular shows, Crime and Sports and Small Town Murder. And you definitely want to follow us on social media, and you can do that at shutupandgivememurder.com. Links are right there. Everything's right there. Anything you could want is at shutupandgivememurder.com. Until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure. If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.